The streets of Accra never truly slept. Even at dawn, before the sun fully rose, the city was already alive. Cars honking, vendors shouting, engines roaring, and people rushing as if time itself was chasing them. But among all the noise, there was a boy people barely noticed. His name was Kojo. He was 12 years old, thin, barefoot, wearing a faded shirt that had seen too many days and too many struggles. Every morning, Kojo sat by the roadside with a small plastic bowl, not because he wanted to, but because he had no other choice. "Please, anything for food," he would say quietly. Most people didn't hear him. Some heard him and chose not to care. Others dropped coins without even looking at his face. To them, he was just another street child, another reminder of a problem they didn't want to think about. But Kojo was not always like this. There was a time when he had a home, a family, a life filled with simple joy. Kojo grew up in a small fishing community near the coast. His father, Kwame, was a hard-working fisherman. Every morning before sunrise, Kwame would head out to sea with his net, promising Kojo, "Today, I'll bring back the biggest fish just for you." Kojo would laugh and run along the shore, pretending to help. His mother, Amma, sold tomatoes and peppers at the market. She was kind, gentle, and always smiling. Even when money was tight, she found a way to make their small home feel warm. At night, they would sit together under the dim light of a lantern, eating simple meals and sharing stories. Kojo was happy, not because he had everything, but because he had love. Then, one night, everything changed. The wind came first, strong, unusual, restless. Then the sky darkened in a way no one had seen before. Villagers began to whisper. Something wasn't right. "Stay inside," Amma told Kojo, pulling him close. But out at sea, Kwame was still there. The storm hit like a monster. Waves crashed violently. Boats disappeared into the darkness. The rain fell like it was trying to wash the world away. Kojo sat by the door all night, waiting, hoping, praying. But morning came without his father. Days passed. Search teams went out. Fishermen tried to find him, but the sea never gave him back. Kwame was gone. Life became harder. Amma tried to stay strong for Kojo. She worked longer hours at the market. She smiled even when she was tired. She told Kojo, "We will be okay." But sometimes, even the strongest people break. A few months later, Amma fell sick. At first, it was just a cough, then weakness, then something worse. They had no money for proper treatment, no one to help. And slowly, Kojo watched the only person he had left fade away. The day she died, Kojo didn't cry immediately. He just sat there, quiet, confused, as if his world had paused. Then reality hit, and with it, loneliness. At 12 years old, Kojo became completely alone. Relatives refused to take him in. Neighbors helped for a while, then stopped. The small home he once knew was gone, and the streets of Accra became his new reality. The first night he slept outside, he didn't sleep at all. Every sound scared him. Every shadow felt dangerous. Hunger twisted his stomach. Tears rolled silently down his face. "I just need to survive," he whispered to himself. And so, he started begging. The days were long. The sun was harsh. The ground burned his feet. Sometimes he got coins, sometimes he didn't. Some days he ate, other days he went to bed hungry. But what hurt the most was not the hunger, it was how invisible he had become. People walked past him like he didn't exist. Children his age wore school uniforms, laughing, learning, dreaming. And Kojo sat on the roadside, watching, wishing. One day, everything began to change. Near where Kojo usually sat was a small school. Every afternoon, he would hear the sound of children reading, laughing, answering questions. At first, he ignored it, but something about it kept pulling him closer. One day, he stood near the window, just for a moment, just to listen. "Repeat after me," the teacher said. "A, B, C." Kojo's eyes widened. He had never been to school, but something inside him sparked. From that day on, he kept coming back. He would beg in the morning and stand outside the classroom in the afternoon, listening, learning, absorbing everything. At night, using charcoal on the ground, he practiced writing, letters, numbers, words, even when he didn't fully understand them. People thought he was just a street boy, but Kojo was quietly building something inside himself. One afternoon, a teacher noticed him. Her name was Madame Efua. She had seen him before, but this time she saw something different. Not just a beggar, but a boy who refused to give up. She walked outside and called him. "You there, what is your name?" Kojo hesitated. "Kojo," he said softly. "Why do you always stand here?" she asked. Kojo looked down. Then, with a trembling voice, he said, "I want to learn, but I don't belong inside." Those words hit her deeply. The next day, she came back with something. A notebook, a pencil, and a decision. "Come to class," she told him. That moment changed everything. Kojo's journey was not easy. Some students laughed at him. Some teachers doubted him. He had no uniform, no proper shoes, no lunch. But Kojo had something stronger than all of that: determination. He woke up early to find food. He studied harder than anyone else. He stayed late after class. He asked questions. He refused to give up. Years passed. Slowly, the boy who begged on the streets began to rise. He passed his exams. He earned a scholarship. He went to university. And through every stage of his life, he remembered where he came from. One day, Kojo stood in a white coat, a stethoscope around his neck. The boy who once begged for coins had become a doctor. But success did not change his heart. He returned to the streets, the same streets that once ignored him. And this time, he didn't come empty-handed. He built a center for street children, a place where no child would feel invisible, a place where dreams could begin. He gave them food, education, hope. And when people asked him why, Kojo would simply say, "I was once that child nobody saw." Moral of the story: your beginning does not define your future. Even in the darkest moments, hope, determination, and one act of kindness can change everything.
If you enjoyed this story, please make sure to follow me and also subscribe to my YouTube channel for more exciting stories.